like my freshman year, I was like, okay, I'm cool. And then my sophomore year, I played JV, and then my brother, he went to law school. My brother got in, so short shots kind of fell apart. And then just for personal, like my mom got like sick, so just was like a tough, just like tough time.
Tough time.
So yeah, nobody, my sophomore year. But that like really, that I guess that was like the only time where I questioned myself a little bit. Like I was like, okay, well, am I even gonna be able to play like college ball? Because that's also especially when Coach Flynn left to go. Like so, then I'm like, okay, cool. My junior year, I'm like, this is gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We got a good team. But then Coach Flynn leaves. I understand. I mean, as a kid, you don't understand it. But as a kid, it's a college job over a high school job. It's a full time. You can't. There's no decision.
No question.
No question. And then we really. But the ripple effect of that, of people just leaving, us getting a new coach who just didn't. I mean, I think our coach was 26, Coach Cheevers, and you're a 26-year-old guy who's getting hired to be the AD, the coach, and to teach, and you got to coach against like the BCL just had legends in there, and I mean the guy was just
thrown in the fire.
He was overwhelmed. So and we just didn't have. So it was a tough, man. It was probably one of my actually favorite years, my junior year, because no one expected us to do anything, and we ended up starting. Honestly, I think like 7-1. The only one we lost to was DeMatha, dude, and DeMatha was third in the country. DeMatha's third in the country. So DeMatha had So DeMatha had Austin Freeman. They had the Grants. They had oh my god, I forget their best player was their point guard. They had Chris played at Georgetown. They were just
Matthews.
God, I can't remember. We ended up losing by 15 of them, and we were like, okay, we feel good. We just lost by 15 to those guys. Are like their whole top 7 is, like I said. I think they're pretty confident they finish at year number 3. So we start 7-1. We're feeling good, but then the BCL that year was just loaded, and we didn't have. So we didn't really have like we had me and we had Jamar. God bless my buddy Joel. He played a little bit of catch, but we didn't have like even guys that were going to be college players. Even basketball was even their main sport. And I can roll you through everybody in the BCL my junior year, and they all had a D1 big guy, and they had at least like a multiple college scholarship, just dudes. I mean, St. Joe went 34-1 that year. Their only loss was to DeMatha. Towson Catholic had Dante, Malcolm, Brandon Green. I mean, you can just go down there and they didn't even sniff it that year because St. Joe just blew through everybody. St. Francis was loaded. Spalding, I can tell you, Goretti had a guy go to Morgan State. It was just Spalding. It was tough sledding, man. We had no size. That was the toughest thing because I even like that year. My confidence started growing because we weren't winning BCL games in the beginning of the year, but teams were giving me a lot of like. I remember playing against Spalding, and Spalding went box and 1 on me. So I remember being like, "Oh, okay," that's a confident like, "Oh, okay." So I'm getting respect, and I respected Mike Glick a lot. Mike Glick coach Rudy Gayes. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then we played or St. John's Patrick Hall, same thing. So I always had good games against the good teams. Like I always took on that challenge because I was like, "Oh, here's my opportunity," and I started feeling confident. So. We really at the end of the year we went on a roll. We beat Calvert Hall, we beat St. John's Prospect Hall, and then that St. Joe team we were up in the start of the fourth quarter. We were up. That team that lost one game, we held the ball. So let me tell you about that game, okay? Jamar didn't tell you this one. So we have 8 guys on our team, okay? And coach suspends 3 of them, including Jamar, for the first half of the game. Jamar's out for the first half, and the other 2 out for the first quarter. So we're going to play in the BCL, and we're playing the number 4 team in the country, and we basically got 5 guys, and our whole game plan is to just hold the ball. And by hold the ball, it means me just dribble the ball around. Wow. So it was working, my friend.
No shot clock.
Oh, I know people were getting so pissed, but we were winning. I'm telling you, like we were winning. Like I would basically we would spread the court and we would just we would dribble and I would hand it off and then I get it back and then I just wait for them to be an opportunity and we just drive and it was working mentally, man. We were in their heads, and then they went on a little run, and I think they ended up beating us by like 6 points, and I was like, okay, so that after that year, I was like, all right, I can really do this. I really transitioned. My junior year was big for me because going to my senior year, I really dedicated. I really got into the gym. Worked with Don Aaron, he was an old school. He just got me in the gym and really just like he's such good at breaking down the mechanics. It was probably the best I ever shot, but it was crazy. Like I didn't have, so like my mom passed away that year, so I didn't play AAU. Yeah, so like no one knew who I was. I didn't have an AAU team, so I ended up going to. This is one of my favorite stories. I ended up going to Eastern Invitational, and like I just signed up for the camp. This is like going into my senior year, and I go up there and like I've been in the gym and I just destroy like everybody. You know the part where they're picking out their teams, like I'm just destroying everybody. And the guy at the camp calls me over. He's like, "Who are you? And like what are you doing here this week?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just signed up for a camp and trying to get like a scholarship, trying to play some ball. And he's like, no. This is like I didn't know the AAU schedule, so like I guess that was like some big tournament. And they're like, no, all the guys are going to be here next week. So they're like, look, you stay this week and play, but then you can come back here next week. It's on the house. So, like you just got to pay the 1 week. They're like you'll be good. So. Like really going at the end of my junior year, school started talking, but at that camp is where like the Patriot League, all these D2s and like every D3 was just like all over the place. Was just like, yeah, come on, like it was just all over me. And then I played the next week, and next week is when they brought in all the guys, and I still like balled out. So I felt really confident there. And then, like we play. I went to 5-star, and 5-star. I just like that's where I played really good. I just picked up a bunch of D2 offers at 5-star. Guys were like, "Who are?" Same thing. Like no one had any idea who I was. And they're like, "Okay," and then I just. But at that time, my mindset really changed. Where I was like, I really thought I'm the best player on any court I'm on. Like I just think like that's the mindset you got to have. Maybe I wasn't, but that's where like from my junior year on the rest of my career, anytime I step on the court, I'm like, I'm the baddest dude here. It's no questions about it. And I always have like a chip on my shoulder. So I'd always be like mentally, I'd be like, yeah, they think I'm like garbage. Even if the guy could be like the nicest, he could be my boy. So I just, that competitive drive. But yeah, my senior year, like going into my senior year, I just, like we played the Rock Summer League, I just destroyed everybody. I think it was like it was a couple of games. I think like when I first got to I had this mindset I've been working out when I first got to Eastern Invitational. That's when I was really like, because I had gone to camps, but like camps I wouldn't like play as confident. But I had that mindset like. From the first week I stepped at Invitational, I was like, I'm gonna be the baddest dude here. Like I am the baddest dude here. Yeah. Like there's nobody can play with me. And then that's that really helped. And then from then on, it was just like, okay. And like I said, that summer, I it was just destroying people.
turned into
and then it just, dude, senior year, like that's why I was so fired up for senior year, because I was like, okay, like the BCL, they had lost, like St. Joe graduated a lot of guys. We're still loaded, but now we had a really good JV team. They were coming up, and then I'm like, we're gonna get one big. You just give us one big. We have the best backcourt. Nobody's gonna be able to just give us one big. And honestly, I was like, I'm like, my mindset was like, I'm the best player in this league. I want to be the best player. Like I'm gonna like be the. You gotta have that mindset. So I was looking forward to that. And we had a couple bigs that were about to come, and then things happened. So then we roll in my senior year, but I'm still feeling good, because I'm just that confident in myself. And Jamar got hurt beginning of the year. So Jamar was actually, I think, out the first, like we started 11-0, and I think Jamar was out the first 7 games. He was out, and we still just smacked. Like we beat Bishop Ireton. They had some big guy going to Kentucky. We beat Kima, was good. Now, the game Jamar came back, we beat Riverdale Baptist. But that was a game Jamar played in the second half, and thank God he did, because they had a good team. In the first half, I remember, like, I was playing really good, but I was so tired. And, like, at that time, going from varsity to JV to varsity, it's tough, especially in the beginning. So a lot of our JV guys were just, like, they weren't aggressive. It's hard to be aggressive in the beginning. So it was really just like throw the ball to Alex break us down. And we were able to get by for a while. But that was a game. Riverdale Baptist had some good players. And that's the game where Jamar came back in the second half. And then I felt even better, because I'm like, okay, we just we're beating some really good teams. I think we beat Riverdale Baptist, and we beat Calvert Hall. We put it on Calvert Hall. So I felt really good. But then we just ran into we would lose in the toughest Well, first of all, Towson Catholic was just loaded. I got to give Towson Catholic their credit. We played them close, but their last game, they were just Dante was, especially size wise, we just couldn't match up with him. And then Malcolm was a problem. He was really good, but they had an overall team. And that's what always did us in. Like we couldn't we couldn't miss, because we weren't going to get the rebound. And it's the only time in my basketball career where on the foul shot, I wanted the opponent to make the foul shot. Because I felt if they missed a foul shot, there's a better chance. Our center, God bless his heart, I love him to death. He's 6'2". Jimmy Howard, he ended up being a boxer. The guy was, do you understand? And we won. I mean, we still beat almost everybody. We couldn't like beat those at like we couldn't get past Towson Catholic. That was just like they were just really good. And then we lost a real heartbreaker to St. Joe, because St. Joe was real. Like they had Dino Gregory. It was the same thing. St. Joe had such big guys, and
Henry
and Dino were big, and they had good guards, but those guards weren't on the same like level as, like, Eric Atkins was a freshman.
Eric, I think Justin was a
junior.
Yeah,
Justin Jr. But like at that point, me and Jamar were just, so we lost to them in double overtime, which is still like one of the toughest game, probably the toughest game like in my mind, because like we had them at home, we had them beat, but the league was just so, everybody was, and that it was so frustrating, because I was like, man, we just had, I'm telling you, I still believe if we had one big guy there, we would have won, because we had pieces. God bless his heart, you can't be 6'2" and guard centers. But I mean, personally, I had a great year. I honestly, if I'm being honest, like the only person I can be like, okay, he had a better year in that league than me was like Malcolm. Like I was like, okay, Malcolm, he was a Gatorade Player of the Year, St. Taos Catholic. You can't argue with that. But like every matchup that we went into, I was like, okay, I was the best guard on the floor. If not, then Jamar was the best guard on the floor. So you know what I'm saying? And like I mean. That's no disrespect. There's a lot of good guards in the league, a lot of good guards. But I just was like, yeah, that year, that was definitely the year of the bigs too. I mean, like I said, yeah, personally, I just felt very, very, very like I had a great year, and that's why it was interesting because I kept like waiting for. Like, I really wanted to go to one of the local D1s. Like, that was, like, I didn't want to go away from my family, especially my dad. My mom just passed away. So, like, Ola was talking to me. Like, but none of the other local ones really were. I was getting talks from, like, other schools. And I just couldn't understand, like, why.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, I'm looking at the list of, like, all MIA or all BCL. And, like, it's me. And all these other guys are going, like, Power 5, which they should deserve to. But hell, the second team's going Power 5 or D1.
Yeah.
Hell, 13. So that was, but it ended up being like a blessing in disguise, man. Because going to St. Mary's was just wow. It's just it was a weird path. Because like I said, for me it was I never wanted to go. It was either go local D1. Or really like go D3, like because there's no D2s around here, and I wasn't gonna go to. I had no desire to go to like the. Like I said, there's no disrespect to people that do that because like at the time I didn't understand the financial aspects of it all, but like I wasn't like going to go to Wheeling Jesuit. I didn't want to go to school in West Virginia. I didn't want to go to school in Erie, Pennsylvania. The one school I probably, if I'd be like, man, maybe I should have thought about that was, it was Bentley University in Boston, and they were just gone to the D2 Elite 8, and they were like a really good business school. So that was, but I mean that none of the, I mean they would later on when I was in college they would try to holler at me. But at a high school, they all were like, nah, nope. So I ended up like thinking like, okay, where am I going to go? And that's where, so Coach Flynn passed away. And that's where like, yeah, Coach Flynn. So I go to Coach Flynn was recruiting me to McDaniel, which is crazy. And nobody had any idea. I was getting like, at that point, brother, I don't think anybody went on more college visits in the history of athletics than me. Like I visited everywhere. Like if you were like, I visited all those D2s. I visited NYU. I visited. I went on tours because like it's only D1s are the only ones you have a certain amount of visits. D3s you can go. And for me, I'd be like, okay, let's do this. Let's have some fun, man, and see some stuff. So it was really, and I had no idea where I was going to go up to May, and then it was at Coach Flynn's funeral, and this is one of my favorite stories to tell, even though it was a horrible thing, that I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Coach Harney, and he's like, hi, I'm Chris Harney, I'm the head basketball coach at St. Mary's College, and I'm like, what? This dude's really trying to recruit me right now. And I'm just like in shock, like, wow, this guy's got some serious kahunas. But I was like, all right, it kind of like sparked something there. And I'm like, all right, this guy, yeah, because I was like, hey man, okay, I'm kind of like just here to do my piece, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But that kind of like left a piece of my mind, and then I still like didn't really even think about it. And then he came when we lost in my senior game, my last high school game, we lost at Loyola, And I'm just, when you remember, well, I think you won a state championship your last year, if I'm correct. But you might have won your last game.
I was right.
Okay. So if you lose your last game, which we all end up doing at some point, it's your career, you're just defeated. And I remember just being like, I don't want to go out here, especially at that time. Like, I still had to know where I was going, so it was all those coaches are just gonna be like, blah blah blah. You don't want to hear it. So I'm like trying to figure out how to get out of here. I just want to get my dad and dip. And Harney was slick, man. Harney just like came up behind me and grabbed my backpack and was like, and just put it on. I was like, yo, let's get out of here. And I was like, who are you, my friend? Like, I don't even know you. I met you at a funeral. But he really like, we clicked right there. And then he was like, you need to come down and see St. Mary's. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I'll go down there.